Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Brand New Actor. I am your host, Deanna Nicole, and today I am here with a wonderful guest, Chris Perez. He is not only an amazing actor, but also a wonderful acting coach at Universal Acting. And today we're going to dive
Mm.
into your acting materials. So, from
Yes.
monologues to scenes and a little bit of self tape as well. So, Chris, what
Yes.
inspired you to be an actor? I don't think we've ever talked about
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So in entering high school, I was really, really shy. Like my parents took me to a psychiatrist shy. For example, I had a crush on the girl next door. My mom had the brilliant idea to invite her over, and I heard this from my room, and I quickly hid under the bed. Okay, for a while. So I was really shy, and then my mom took me to a psychologist, and he said, put him in theater, put him in drama. That'll help him. And boy, did it ever.
Sure did. Here we are now. That's an interesting story. After you were inspired to be an actor, where did you get acting training?
My very first time on stage was on in Sunset High School.
Okay.
Miami Sunset High School with Miss Medeiros, and we would do a play. My God, I would shake because I was so nervous. Oh my God, I'm more shaky. Do I have to go out there? But I loved it, and from there, I started doing plays around town, and then I went to the Miami-Dade College theater program, the one in Kendall, which was really, really good.
So,
Lots of it. Yeah, well, I hope so. Lots of individuals that I used to do plays with there are doing pretty big stuff in Hollywood right now, like Bashir Sylvain, Shion McKinney, like look them up. And so it was a really good group, and there I really, really did a lot of plays and was able to really get my feet wet.
you went to New World for a while.
And I had the brilliant idea of like leaving the arts. I'm like, no, no, forget it. Let me get a real job. And I started going from one weird job to another. I became a flight attendant for a while. Yeah, me, right? And then I'm like, no, my heart is where it is. And I auditioned to New World, and miraculously I got in. And I went to New World School of Arts for Theater back in its heyday. And it was amazing. Really hard. Yeah, the college program. I mean, it was really hard, but I loved it. I mean, you're basically acting from 9 in the morning
Well,
straight to rehearsals to 9 p.m.
well done.
So it was acting boot camp, and it was great. It was great.
And now, speaking of the fact that you jumped from job to job, so you started as an actor. What made you get into Universal acting, casting, sort of?
One of my mentors, Elena Maria Garcia, who is a goddess, she was teaching some acting classes here in Universal, and sometimes because she's so busy, she was like, come sub for me. And for a long time, I'm like, no, I don't want to. And I finally did, and I got hooked. I love teaching it. And then I became really good friends with Carlos Rojas, who owns Universal Casting. He's like, you know what? I need another casting director because we're so busy. And I'm like, you sure? And I started doing that, and I got hooked on that. And that's my whole life. Teaching acting and acting when I can and being a casting director is my whole life, and I love it.
What do you love most about working with actors on their materials and monologues?
Seeing the progression. When they first get the material and they're like, how in the world are we gonna bring this to life? And then, jumping to the techniques and so forth, and by the end putting them on camera, and they're like, whoa, that was pretty good. Yeah. I love it, especially with kids.
Oh,
I work a lot with kids. I have a lot of kids doing big things right now, and I can't be more proud of them.
I started at 7, so I hear you. I took acting classes at 7 years old.
I should have started at 7. I wanted to, but I was too shy. I was like insanely shy. So
The
there you go.
opposite. I only started
Yeah,
because I had problems with reading, so my mom put me in classes in hopes that I would become a better avid reader. I mean, it helped,
yeah.
definitely helped, but I was very into the arts as a young kid, so that's why I started.
There you go.
So let's jump.
Well,
Yeah,
also, I'm sorry. My mom is a very frustrated actress. She's been
same.
a frustrated actress from Cuba her whole life. She would sit me down and to watch movies that maybe I should have even been watching as a kid, like The Color Purple.
Oof.
I love The Color Purple, but I'm
Wow.
like 7 years old watching The
Pretending
Color
to be.
Purple and Out of Africa and Ghost and all these movies. But she was a very frustrated actress. But she always instilled in me the love for acting. Um, I was just too shy to jump into it as a kid. But yeah, thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Mom. And so, speaking of mom, with your background, I don't think we talked a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from. Obviously, you're local in Miami.
So, a lot of people don't know this. I was born in Cuba, and I came a long time ago. Your typical Cuban refugee story. We came on a little boat, my dad, my mom, and I. Yep. And we came here and we jumped from one place to another place until we landed in this wonderful, exciting place called Kendall. And then we basically bought a house in Kendall, and the rest is history.
All right, now let's delve a little bit into monologues and scenes. So, what makes a monologue or a scene stand out to you as a casting director? Or
Okay, so one thing I'm known for saying at nauseum, where people hate me for it, is the actor has to have the three C's. Okay, you have to be comfortable, you have to be confident, and you have to be charismatic. When I was in theater, I was I was like a big performer, like, very big face and stuff like that, and I didn't seem to be comfortable on camera. All right, so I lost a lot of jobs that I could have booked straight out of New World because I was just pushing it too much, pushing, and I didn't seem comfortable. And then when I became a casting director and I was working with all these clients and so forth, I noticed one of the main things they're looking for is that the actor is completely comfortable on camera. Try and be comfortable, it's not going to work. The camera is going to multiply whatever you're truly feeling. The camera is going to multiply it. So yeah. So if you try, okay, I'm gonna be comfortable. I'm comfortable. No, you're not. You look really uncomfortable, and that's like a quick next from the client. So what makes a monologue work is that the actor has the three C's, and then from there, be dynamic enough to bring it to life, have lots of levels, not be monotone the whole time and so forth, and just have a way with the word. Really let me not just hear the words you're saying, but truly understand it and feel it with you. You have to have a point of view and you have to make choices. Good actors make bold choices. Even if you mess up and make the wrong choice, good actors take risks. So you have to make bold choices for a monologue and or a scene to work.
Speaking about all of this, really, I really loved your class when I started going at Universal Acting because I came from that theater background. So yeah, I would fall into the trap of like being too big. I'm very expressive in my face. And so like seeing myself on camera, I was like, no, it's too much. It's way too much. Gotta dial it down. And so I really loved your class because you were talking about it's not that theater and like film approach are very different, other than the fact that it's just like a technical thing of like bringing down the dynamic a little bit. Like,
Yes.
don't be 100. That's for the stage. And I think one of my other professors said it best, and now I'm really starting to understand it. Jim Randolph, he said that you have to really understand the canvas size that you're in. A theater is
Ooh,
a
wow.
lot bigger, and so you have to be a lot bigger so you can reach the back of the room versus like film, it's
Yeah.
more tight knit, right? And
Yeah.
so
Shout out Jim Randolph, who is
shout
an
out to
acting
Jim Randall.
god.
And so like it was starting to click
Okay.
a little more in your class though. Like I had heard that, but I didn't really register it until I was in your class and I was like, that's what he meant. Like the canvas size is a
Yeah.
little smaller here. It's very close up to my face, with film. And just the idea of like, yes, as an actor, we need to make those bold choices. But sometimes the most interesting choice is to be truthful. And I think your class really delves into that of just I think I was
Yes.
able to relax and like just feel like I was almost like this is too simple. It felt too simple, and it's that comfortability that you're talking.
When you're as talented as you are.
I was like, oh, okay, I just need to chill. I'm a lot more interesting telling the truth and making bold choices and all that, just being comfortable with it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. About your class. And so, how do you guide actors in choosing the right monologue or scene that really fit to their brand, I guess.
Well, you have to know, what do you sell? Okay. For example, what are you, the sexy leading man?
Mhm.
Are you the funny friend?
The
Are you the
archetypes
villain?
is what I like
Yes,
to see.
yes. So you have to know what you
Your
sell,
market.
and really play to your strengths as well sometimes. So know exactly what you're good at.
I think
Yeah.
it's hilarious that people are like, I don't want to be typecast. I'm like, that's good. You know what you sell. And then from there, you can build.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And would you say that actors should have multiple pieces ready, like comedic, dramatic, classical, or does it
Yes.
depend?
Well, back in the day, it was rule of thumb that if you were an actor, you had two contrasting pieces.
Mhm.
Whatever that meant to you, dramatic and a silly one or something, but you needed two contrasting monologues ready to go on, whenever. Because I remember back in the day, like, you had to go into the casting office, sit down, and sometimes with me, they were like, okay, Chris, show us. Like right here in your office, right here, right now. Yeah. And you have to have monologues prepared. So, yes, two contrasting monologues in your head and in your heart at all times. Yes.
Now, speaking of like monologues and themes, what are maybe some mistakes or pitfalls that actors fall for?
Especially like, for example, they come in the studio and they see the client there and they're like, hey, how are you? My name is John. I'm ready to. Don't don't overdo it. Just be you, and just be the most comfortable you.
Mhm.
Okay, and don't push the emotions. For example, this happens a lot. Just give me a second. I could cry. Look, I'm crying.
No,
And then it doesn't look authentic.
right.
It doesn't look honest. Okay, be calm enough where you're a vessel for the emotions, and then the emotions come through you, and then they're honest and, yeah, and very powerful.
And so with self tapes now, because you are a casting director, what would you say is some advice that you would give to actors doing self tapes?
Okay, don't be backlit like this. This is bad right here. You see, this is
Bad
bad.
example.
Bad, Chris. Okay, have the light. You see, have the light in
Tapes.
front of you. You'd be surprised. A lot of backlight. Sometimes you're in silhouette. I can't see you. Please, some type of good audio, good microphone. Okay, so I get a little different. That's no good. And just pick a pick a wall. It doesn't have to be perfect, but something that is not too distracting to the client. And then once you have all that technical stuff, just be you. Just be you. Like every single time. Hi, my name is John James, and it's just over the top. And they don't want that. They don't want that. They just want to know that you're comfortable enough to be you on camera, and that goes a very long way.
Especially in commercials.
Yes. And don't be late with your self tapes. Don't be late.
The earlier
Don't
the
be late.
better.
The earlier the better. Yes. Yes.
And speaking of everything with self tapes and stuff, typically feel like following directions is also a very big key tip when it comes to commercial acting, especially. I feel like directions sometimes are a little confusing. They're very elaborate.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes, like, I'm trying to read it over and over again and trying to figure out what exactly they want me to do.
Hmm.
Do you recommend using props? Do you recommend using, I don't know, certain clothing pieces?
I recommend using props as long as it doesn't distract from what you have to do, and you don't have to go overboard either. For example, some people, they're like, okay, in this one I have to knock on the door, and pull out a muffin, you know, then I have to get a comb. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to do all of that. Okay, you don't have to go to an actual door. Okay, here's my muffin, stuff like that. You don't have to do all of that. You can just do this right here, then pull out the muffin or the comb. You don't have to do every single thing there. And also, as long as you deliver it honestly, you don't need an extra amount of props. As long as, for example, maybe this right here, is enough for a comb. You don't have to have a comb. See what I mean? So that's very important, because sometimes the actor goes overboard with their wardrobe and their props, and their delivery, or their actual audition is bad. So don't sacrifice your performance for to have every single prop there, because they will take someone who's pantomiming and a perfect performance than someone that has all the props and a bad performance.
And if it's required to be in like a certain setting, like for instance, sometimes there's like castings like that they're like, you're driving a car. Should you be in a car?
You don't have to be in the car, no.
Could you?
No, you don't have to be
Or
in.
is it a bad idea?
I mean, as long as you deliver what they want,
Okay.
it's not a bad idea. No, it's not a bad idea. But it takes a seasoned actor to do that and really make it work as honest as possible. I've seen a lot of, novice actors, yes, get in the car, but then they don't know what to do in the car. They don't know where to set up the camera. They don't know what they're saying. And so it didn't matter that they were in the car. Their delivery and their performance was bad. So there.
No, that makes sense. Definitely. And sacrifice props and all the visionary things for the actual acting itself. Makes a lot of sense. And sometimes we are asked to have a reader. You suggest a non-reader friend, an actor friend. What's the best way to handle that?
A very good reader friend that understands that he is second fiddle in your audition.
But
Sometimes you have a really good actor reader that really gets
overpowered.
into it and overpowers your audition. Okay? There was a very famous in my circle, a situation where this person had a really strong audition, but their reader had a very thick accent. They were not a good actor, stuff like that. And the client doesn't like that either. So if you can try and get a friend who's a semi good actor and can read and can set you up. The reader's there to set you up for you to deliver. And understands it's not their audition, it's your audition, then yes, a good reader is very important. Very important.
And if you don't have a reader, should you do anything else?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of apps nowadays, right? That can help you read. A lot of people record themselves, and then with a lot of rehearsal, they're able to time it perfectly where they're basically talking with themselves. And the good thing about that is if you do that, you ultimately end up knowing the material very, very, very well. And that works too.
I think it's very vital to rehearse what you're doing, the props that you're
Yes.
using, the material.
Yes.
You should be as off book, right? Especially if it's a
Yes.
one-liner.
With the new SAG rules and everything, no one can ask you to be completely off book.
Right.
But it always looks better. It
course.
always looks better because if you're fumbling with the next word, then you're not really acting. You're not really playing as well as you can because you're fumbling for the next word. So if you can be off book, be off book. Or if you have the teleprompter, just train yourself to make it seem where we cannot see that you have a teleprompter. So
Very seamless.
that helps. Yeah.
Well, I have a funny story because I didn't practice. One time I was required in a commercial to bring an energy drink, and this energy drink, I was looking all over the place for it. And I finally found it kind of near Universal, and I had to go do the audition at Universal. I had never drank this energy drink before. I don't know if Carlos remembers, but when I had to open it and drink it and close my eyes as if I was enjoying this drink,
Yeah.
I got showered with the energy drink because it
Wow.
was filled all the way to the top. Luckily, I had a jacket and I was able to cover it up, and he let me do it again. But it was a funny learning moment of like, maybe I should have getting two and just seeing what it was
Yeah, I
like in
mean-
the packaging. I mean, it seems like a simple task, but then I'm here like with a full
Yeah.
energy drink, and I don't drink energy drinks. I had no idea it was filled to the rim. I'm drinking it, and it's showering all over me because I have to close my eyes. And I should have sipped very little, but I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking that in the moment.
The more familiar you are with everything you have to do, the better, yeah. But you made a choice. You made a bold
I
choice.
was very
you took
close.
a
Had I
risk.
not been in the
So,
studio,
yes.
I would have just showered. That would have
Yeah.
been the choice. It would have
There
been
you
like,
go.
she's crazy.
Well, you definitely would have been memorable.
Definitely. Maybe not selected, but memorable. Another question that I'm just curious about. I do this, but I don't know what the thoughts are on this. So if there's not a specific wardrobe, would it be smart to possibly like wear something similar to the color scheme of that brand? I tend to do
Yes.
that.
Yes. For example, if you're doing something for Target and it doesn't have a particular wardrobe, wear red.
Done it
If
for
you have
McDonald's.
something, yes, if you have something for Publix, I believe it's like a green, do that. Yes, that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
To research the brand and know what you're talking about. I mean, sometimes there's
Absolutely.
those improvisational questions that we get because they want something else, the personality.
Well, to touch on those personality questions, sometimes, okay, I've been in the room with the clients watching your self tape. When it comes time for you to talk about yourself, let's say they start talking and then almost immediately they look at each other and they go, "Oh wow, I like her. She reminds me of that. You remember that production we did over there?" She's still talking. And now that so it's almost not as important what you say, but how you say it. They have to instantly feel the 3 C's. You could be saying you believe rhinos are on the moon, but if you say it with the 3 C's, they're gonna like you. And you don't have to say your whole life story. Just pick 2 things and go with it.
So a pitfall you would say is that actors over.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. For example, let's say they say, okay, in a 30-second personality chat, they try and say their whole life story in those 30 seconds, and it looks awkward. They're talking fast. They're not really themselves. They don't look comfortable or confident or charismatic, and it's up instantly.
No, it definitely reminds me of like in class we do the personalities. We call it the personality slate, right? And we do a lot of improv, which is good because you never know when they're going to ask you questions. I remember there was one casting for commercials that it was about finances and nobody knew how to answer the questions. I was like, aren't we grown ass adults?
What happens if you can honestly say, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you want this, but say it, with charisma, they'll take that any day. Any day.
I think the questions were like, yeah, how do you build your credit and things like that. People were just like,
yes,
freaking out.
I remember.
We were
yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
You're right. But those that answered it clearly and in fun and told the truth, they got more brownie points than those that tried to talk like this. But your credit is fixed like this. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to make credit and all of that sound a lot more interesting. All right. Well, to wrap up, what is one piece of advice that you'd give actors just starting to build their performance materials?
Work. Read as much as you can. Find as many classes as you can and go to them. Improv and so forth. You have to get comfortable with your own instrument. Once you become an actor, you are an instrument, all right? Your vocal cords, your face, your thoughts, all of that. So the more practice you do, since acting is a muscle, the more you work at it, the more comfortable you'll be, and then you can really be a powerful actor.
Now, what's next for you at Universal Acting, or is there anything upcoming?
Oh, we've added another class on Wednesdays, which is, on-camera classes. So that's exciting, and then just keep on casting away to find local actors as many jobs for them to book and have fun and make money and all that good stuff. So that's what's next for us.
So you guys have a class on Wednesday. Is that a beginner class or?
Oh, intermediate nights. Yeah, Monday nights are advanced acting class. We only take 12, so there's a waiting list for that. Tuesdays are our beginners class. Anybody can just come in as many times as they want. And then Wednesdays are our
sort of an
intermediate on Tuesdays. And Wednesdays is also by invitation only, but you have to have some type of experience. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's what we have for adults at Universal.
That's awesome. And that's at the Miami location.
Yes.
And where can listeners find you online or on social media?
Oh yeah, so Instagram, Chris Perez 1978. Chris Perez, ChrisPerez 1978. Or go to my YouTube page. I'm an old man, but I get to say go to my YouTube page, which is Crisp Productions, ChRISP Productions. I thought I was being clever because my name is Chris Perez. There's 38 Chris Productions. So just look at the one that's like a blue circle with a little man in the middle, and that's me.
Yeah, and there you can find a bunch of our peers in the acting classes doing scenes and monologues, some wonderful pieces that Chris has written himself, because he's also a writer.
Yes.
Just in case you guys were wondering where all those pieces were coming from. And I think that's about it. Do you have any other advice you want to give to the actors?
Fun when you're there. Have fun. No matter what the situation is. If you're on camera, You have to have fun. Some people take it too seriously and they're not having fun, and then it's no one's gonna like that. Have fun, and we'll have fun watching you.
That's a good way to end. Have fun, everybody. All right. Well, my name is Deanna Nicole. This is the brand new actor. I'm here with Chris Perez. We're talking about some acting materials, monologue scenes, and self-tapes. Be sure to tune in every month. Once a month, we have a new episode. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Till next time. Bye.